going to turn to my right now, Dr. Claudinne Ogaldes. You are the head of Guatemala's National DRR Agency. So I'd like to ask, what are some good governance practices for disaster displacement that can be replicated elsewhere? And how do you engage stakeholders in a meaningful way? What are the enablers to engagement?
Muy buenos días, me disculpo porque voy a hablar.
Good morning. Excuse me, I'll be speaking in Spanish. It's more comfortable for me. Yes. As CONRED, we work as an institution network, and we had problems for traveling, usually from Mexico to Guatemala due to narco activity in Mexico. We implement the CONRED method. Is step-by-step process where the local government takes care of the emergency with communities, and then they go up and up to the national level. That's the way we work. In our national platform, we try to include all people to hear all voices, because we consider solutions will come from them. They are the first responders. So communities have to show us how to give answers. We are implementing anticipatory measures in order to have mechanisms to be proactive before the disaster comes, and also to support them. We are empowering communities so that they can identify risks at their communities, and then together we take decisions for territorial development programs introducing risk management. Unfortunately, in Guatemala, we have lots of risk areas. We are not able to have people there, so we believe in ancestral knowledge, we believe in their solutions, and then we convert them in practices.
I'm going to turn once again to Dr. Claudinne Ogaldes. My question to you is disaster risk reduction and displacement are cross-cutting issues that need cross-cutting solutions with multiple stakeholders. So what are the partnerships needed to scale up action, including for longer-term prevention and anticipatory action?
Muchas gracias. Sí, efectivamente, tal y como nosotros estamos planteando.
Yes, thank you very much. The way we are organizing our platform, we are creating a roadmap for the anticipatory measures. These, similarly to other countries, in Guatemala, that was not a priority for the last 25 years. We've been working in the last 25 years. But now we're changing things and we are paying more attention to prevention. This means that we need to know what are the attitudes and what are the proposals by the communities, because of course they have a better knowledge of themselves than we do. We need to think of creating good relationship and good rootedness so that they are not displaced from their own communities. Many people from Guatemala migrate to the US looking for better economic opportunities, but we need to close the economic gaps in terms of access to education and employment so that the populations stay, especially young people. Because you can go to many communities in Guatemala, and it is the women that stayed, because the rest, the men, left to the United States. So how can we make those women to participate? How can we give them voice so they create their plans, they identify risks, because they are the ones that are sustaining their communities, and they have the knowledge, they need to be listened to. And this is what we are trying to do in our Secretaria. We are trying to listen to those women. We're trying to listen to the indigenous people, to the women, to the youth. And I think the anticipatory measures are here to stay. We need now to implement them. We need to fund them to give support to the most vulnerable communities, and to also close the gap in equity and access. And that means to listen, to engage and work with the communities. So it is from the communities that those solutions are created.
pose another question, maybe to the two other panelists, maybe if you want to weigh in. We heard about the impacts or a question about the non-economic costs of displacement earlier. From your perspectives, how do you make the business case for prevention? We're dealing with environments where there are multiple stakeholders, multiple mandates. How do you make the business case for prevention in your lines of work? Claudine, maybe I'll turn to you first for that. Do you have to convince your colleagues to invest?
Yo creo que deben haber varios actores implicados, porque la solución.
I think there has to be different stakeholders. The solution cannot come from top to bottom, but from bottom to top. And this has to be a multi-sectoral solution. It has to be multi-participatory. It has to be multilingual. And it has to involve everyone from children, women, older adults, and the whole community has to participate. Private sector, government, agencies, because it has to be a joint effort and solution.
I'm going to ask all of our panelists to think about a quick key takeaway they'd like to leave the audience with, 30 seconds up to a minute maximum, let's say. So think about that for a second. I'll just highlight a couple of the key things that I took away from both these conversations in the last 90 minutes or so. Ownership of the solutions, whether that be at a national level, regional level, or local level, from people who are affected by disasters. I think we see that a lot in the humanitarian sector, which I cover. There's the duty bearer is a little bit mistaken sometimes. I think ownership, especially in an environment with funding challenges, let's say, is going to be crucial moving forward. Prevention and solutions must be driven by local communities. We must build on traditional knowledge that already exists. And of course, meaningful participation from women and women's leadership, not just representation, but leadership in communities. Personally, I've been covering a humanitarian response for years now, and the system is overwhelmed and in crisis in a way that I've never seen. Yet millions of people suffer from repeated or protracted disaster, climate, conflict-related displacement. As many people have said, this cannot be addressed by humanitarian response alone. It cannot be addressed by aid funding alone. It certainly cannot be addressed by the multilateral system alone. So there's an urgent need to think beyond today's crises to reduce risks and prevent tomorrow's ones, keeping in mind that the Sendai framework targets are only 5 years away. So on that cheery note, I'll just ask everyone to leave us with their takeaways. Dr. Ogaldes, I'll start with you.
Bueno, mi punto más era lo que decía.
Well, for me, the key takeaway would be the donors and the collaborators are the ones that fund the emergencies, but they do not fund prevention. And this is something we need to tell the people working in international cooperation. You give us money when the disaster is affecting us. You allow us to respond, but not to prevent. And you would spend less money if we were able to prevent rather than respond. And the second key takeaway is that the funding is running out. We are coming to the end, and it is being diminished more and more. So we need to look for local solutions, and I think that is a key point. And thirdly, everyone's participation. It's very important that we're all engaged, not only for responding, but also in prevention. It is very important that the private sector, especially from all countries, is also involved because they're also thinking in emergency response, but not in prevention. I think these 3 points would be mine.
The idea of making the business case